Welcome everyone to your Radio Playhouse, a small slice of American nostalgia. Today's subject is History of Halloween, Halloween of the Past. As an end of October born child, I always loved the anticipation of summer ending and fall arriving. As I grew old enough to have birthday parties that I would remember, my parents had an annual Halloween bash. All the kids in my family and friends from school dressed up in their favorite Halloween costumes to celebrate my birthday with cake, ice cream, and the perennial Halloween goodie bag of treats at the end of the party that my mom would prepare ahead of time. It featured wax lips, plastic bat rings, candy, and the ever-present Halloween treat, candy corn. Nothing stays in my mind so vividly as the sights, smells, and joys of those parties. Even the faded Polaroid pictures in the old photo album cannot conjure up those details as sharp as my own memories of a safer, more carefree time than those senses. As an elementary student at the now defunct Craig School in Uniontown, PA, I remember around Halloween time a popular song that played on our record player in class. Here are the lyrics. There was an old lady, all skin and bones. Ooh, ooh. She lived down by the old graveyard. Ooh. Yes, that is Skin and Bones. Do you remember that song? This brings me to the point of the story. The history of Halloween in our society. The Halloween tradition was said to have started with the Celtic festival of Samhain, a Gaelic harvest festival held on October 31st and ending November 1. Marked the end of the lighter half of the year and the start of the darker half. They would light bonfires, and to ward off the ghosts they would wear bizarre costumes. The costuming is still a tradition in many countries still today. The Celts, who lived 2,000 years ago in the area now known as Ireland, celebrated their new year on November 1. They believed that on October 31st, the boundaries between the living and the dead dissolved, and they both would roam the earth in unison. Years later, in the latter part of the 1800s, there was a motion to bring Halloween to America and mold it into a holiday focused on community and family get-together rather than the sinister aspect of the event. Children as well as adults celebrated this day with games, costumes, and hearty foods of the season. By the 20th century, religious overtones were eliminated from the event. Depression-era Halloween. Once the 1920s and 30s rolled around, depression was in full swing. That did not stop people of all ages from enjoying Halloween parties. Maybe just for a time, to forget reality and to be something else for a while. I can relate. At that time, Halloween became a community-based holiday and introduced some of the first Halloween parades put on for the public. Unfortunately, Halloween was plagued by vandals in small communities until it was tamed by the town leaders in the 1950s. The 1950s gave way to the idea that Halloween was an activity that children could partake in almost exclusively and have a positive experience doing so. Towns created Halloween dances for the baby boomer generation at schools and at town halls throughout the United States. Costume dressing is rooted back to the European and Celtic groups. Hundreds of years ago, the thought of winter was scary for most people. Food shortages and excessive amount of darkness as the days grew shorter caused people to worry. When Halloween rolled around, when it was thought of as a time that the spirits roamed the earth, people thought the spirits would find them if they left their homes. To avoid a face-to-face confrontation with these spirits, people would wear masks to hide their identity and blend in with the spirit world. They also would place bowls of food outside their homes to keep ghosts away from their houses. This was the precursor to the trick-or-treating tradition. Trick-or-treating was revived between 1920 and the 1950s. Early trick-or-treaters would receive cakes in exchange for prayers for the dead. The custom evolved into what we now know as walking up to a neighbor's door, ringing their doorbell, holding out your bucket, and yelling trick-or-treat while dressed as your favorite character. Candy is usually given, although some disgruntled kids receive fruit. Fruit? You say. That house definitely needs to be tricked. Today, Americans spend more than $6 billion $100 yearly on Halloween. Only Christmas surpasses Halloween in regards to holiday spending. Alright, getting back on topic here. Folklorist Jack Santino had suggested that Halloween was a holiday that inverted social norms, so that children held power over adults on that one night. Modern Halloween. The 1960s, 70s, and 80s graced us with the plastic Halloween costume. Whether you wanted to be a member of KISS, a Marvel Comics character, Batman, Barbie, or even Jaws, you had to settle for that rough-cut plastic mask and craptacular plastic suit. Unless your parents were creative and made your costume for you, which would be far cooler than the heat-creating costume that tore through your eyelids when you were trick-or-treating. Remember when a branch would catch your suit and rip it to smithereens? You had to ask for candy the rest of the night with your plastic suit flopping in the wind behind you while your jogging pants and t-shirt exposed. Who's going to give candy to a half-dressed Jaws? One thing is for sure, we did get a horror movie named Halloween in 1978 that made the holiday that much better. That was a scary movie. The 1990s pretty much parodied themselves as kids were dressing as grunge rock stars such as Kurt Cobain and Eddie Vedder. Some kids also dressed as hippies from the 60s. I guess it was retro to do so. Oh, to continue the theme, Dr. Sam Loomis, Donald Pleasence, died in the Halloween movie series in Halloween 5, The Curse of Michael Myers, 1995. The years starting in 2000 ending in the present, most of the Halloween traditions have stayed intact. The trick-or-treating, costume parties, haunted houses, and pumpkin carving had continued. Some additions around these times have included Christmas-type lights, but Halloween-themed pumpkins, bats, and witches decorated and illuminated a front lawn and shrubbery. Huge statues in the shapes of mummies or specter will greet you at the door with voice activation. Also, Halloween stationery has made an appearance on office and school desks around the country. No Halloween article is complete without mentioning the haunted house or scare house attractions that go so well with this night. The origins of the first haunted house goes back to the late 1960s and early 1970s in Louisville, Kentucky, and Cincinnati, Ohio. A non-profit group known as JCI, Junior Chamber International, started setting them up around the smaller cities for the amusement of townfolk. The idea caught on huge, and presently the JCI still operate these haunted houses around the Carolinas. Many new haunted attractions pop up each year to satisfy people's taste for the Halloween experience. In my neck of the woods, we do have a few. Year after year, the haunted houses generate new generations of fans wanting to be scared out of their minds. Now we come to realize that the Halloween experience is a fun idea, and it continues to be successful year after year. So kudos to Halloween. Your Radio Playhouse does support Halloween, and we'll see you later. Thank you.